Once upon a time in a not-so-far-off land, there lived a man named Jerry who had an unquenchable thirst for adventure and a knack for finding himself in the most peculiar situations. Jerry was not your ordinary adventurer. He was more of a clumsy daydreamer who stumbled upon adventures by sheer accident. His mop of curly hair and perpetually curious eyes gave him an endearing, if slightly disheveled, appearance. His clothes were always a little mismatched, as if he dressed in the dark, but his infectious grin made it impossible not to like him. One sunny afternoon, feeling particularly bold, Jerry decided it was the perfect day to explore the deep, mysterious woods behind his house, a place he had often gazed at but never dared to enter. These woods, known as Eldergrove Forest, were a local legend. Tales of enchanted creatures, hidden treasures, and whimsical magic had kept most villagers at bay. But Jerry, with his insatiable curiosity, felt a pull he could no longer resist. Armed with nothing but a sandwich, a bottle of water, and his trusty but slightly broken compass, Jerry set off into the woods, whistling a cheerful tune and completely unaware of the comedy of errors that was about to unfold. The woods were thick and enchanting, with sunlight dappling through the leaves and birds singing melodies that seemed to encourage his exploration. Each tree seemed to whisper secrets, and the air was thick with the scent of pine and wildflowers. However, it wasn't long before Jerry's sense of direction, which was questionable at best, led him astray. His compass, which he had accidentally dropped in a puddle earlier, was now pointing him in circles. Determined not to let this minor setback ruin his adventure, Jerry pressed on, convinced he was on the verge of discovering something wonderful. And discover something he did, but not at all what he expected. After several hours of aimless wandering, Jerry stumbled upon a clearing where he found a large, serene lake that mirrored the sky above it so perfectly it was hard to tell where the water began and the sky ended. The lake, known as Mirror Lake, was surrounded by lush greenery and blooming flowers. Dragonflies flitted about, and the gentle hum of nature was all around. Mesmerized by the beauty of the lake, Jerry decided to take a closer look. As he approached the edge of the lake, he noticed a sign that read, "Beware, this lake likes to play tricks." Puzzled by the strange warning, Jerry shrugged and decided to dip his toes in the water. No sooner had his foot touched the water than his entire body was inexplicably pulled into the lake with a splash. To his astonishment, Jerry found himself sitting in a small, rickety boat in the middle of the lake, holding a paddle that had magically appeared out of nowhere. The boat, though old and worn, had an aura of enchantment about it, with intricate carvings of mythical creatures along its sides. Confused but highly amused, Jerry began to paddle around the lake, which seemed to have a mind of its own. Every time he tried to paddle back to shore, the lake would gently nudge him back towards the center. Just as Jerry started to wonder if he'd ever make it back to shore, a family of ducks swam up to his boat, quacking merrily as if to laugh at his predicament. The ducks, with their bright eyes and playful demeanor, seemed to be in on the joke. Jerry couldn't help but laugh along with them, realizing that the lake didn't mean any harm. It just had a peculiar sense of humor. Eventually, the lake guided Jerry back to shore, depositing him exactly where he had started, as if to say, "Thanks for playing along." Soaking wet but in high spirits, Jerry made his way back home, his adventure in the woods and the mischievous lake becoming a story he would tell for years to come, each time with a little more embellishment and a lot more laughter. The villagers, who initially thought Jerry's tales were just that tales, began to see the twinkle in his eye and wonder if perhaps, just perhaps, there was a bit of magic in Eldergrove Forest after all.